All right, last league before the North American Premodern Championships, the most important tournament of the year, the tournament that I basically spend all year thinking about what I'm going to play, preparing for, and I've had some deck selection anguish. Dreadnought, clearly an excellent deck, definitely one that can kind of crush the competition. However, I discovered that Dreadnought, when you take out the red matchups, is all of a sudden becomes a 45% deck. Completely stunning revelation. So if you just take Goblins and Burn out of the data, it becomes a 45% win rate deck. And guess when you stop playing against Goblins and Burn in a 9-round Swiss tournament? Probably around round 4, assuming that you're going to win the first 3 rounds, which you better win the first 3 rounds if you're going to top 8 in a 9-rounder. One deck that remains on top, regardless of how you click the switches, is Replenish. Replenish holds a 55% win rate when you delete all the bad decks from the field. And then some of the middling decks like Burning Goblins. So I'm interested in playing Replenish. I'm not interested in playing the card Attunement. Attunement, for various reasons, is doo-doo butter. It's super card disadvantage. It is a sorcery speed card, and it just kind of doesn't interest me in a lot of matchups. It doesn't interest me in the fast matchups. It doesn't interest me in the slow matchups. It only really interests me if your opponent is like sitting on their hands and they don't play counter spells. So like if they're playing, I don't know, just some mid-range deck, then you'll just get them, right? Because you can sit there, you can spin the attunement 4 turns in a row because they're not clocking you, and then eventually you get your Replenish off. They have no resistance to Replenish, no Tormod's Crypt, Phyrexian Furnace counterspell, with a Wretch Haunting Echoes, Disenchant, even Tranquil Domain sometimes out of the sideboard, etc., etc., etc. A lot of players like to use attunement to prevent mana flood, which is okay. It's also nice to put the 3 mana down payment on the effect and then get it multiple turns later. So you can just have an explosive turn where you're doing a lot of stuff, and it starts off by spinning an attunement. You also get attunement back when you cast Replenish for not the full combo. So if you just get half the combo, you're just like, oh, I'm going to get back a Parallax Tide and an Opalescence. I'm going to use the attunement to go then find the Parallax Wave. So the effect that used to cost mana is now free. That is the best argument for attunement. But actually casting and activating the card super blows, in my opinion. So replenishing it is good. Casting and activating it is bad. Another thing was this deck really wants to play 26 lands. It really just wants to see all of its lands. So attunement obviously helps if we play 26 lands. So we're going to play 24 lands, and instead of Mana Leak, we're going to play Miscalculation. And we're going to cycle Miscalculation if we don't have a target, or we're going to use it if we have a target. And it's always going to get paid, and we're going to use it to help us hit our land drops. It's really nice to have a card that can do something no matter what. Seal Cleansing is the kind of card that was in the Miscalculation slot, and it is, of course, situational. Sword Splasher is extremely situational, but it's the only world in which you can just be efficient compared to your opponent, right? The rest of the time you're very inefficient. All your stuff costs way too much mana. Stifle also helps with the efficiency, aside from randomly stifling a fetch land or whatever. And fun stuff like stifling Tormod's Crypt and Phyrexian Furnace. You can stifle your Parallax stuff to make sure they don't get their stuff back, which means that you can just cast your Parallax stuff and use the stifle to just extend the game to the point that you find your intuitions, you find your Replenish. So I'm playing 24 lands. And Frantic Search is better than Attunement. It's a free spell, and sometimes it's a ritual, so that rules. And then Random Deep Analysis is not a bad card to draw, not a bad card to do a wonky intuition pile. Like a lot of times you can just do an intuition pile where Deep Analysis just gets in the mix and you're sort of happy with all 3 cards that they give you. Moving on to sideboard, you've got your sideboard Deep Analysis for that additional vibe. You have Misdirection for these sort of blue deck fights. Abeyance for the blue deck fights, Annul for the fights over Parallax Tide, and Exalted Angel just to crush mid-range a little harder and give control decks another thing to think about, make them spread their sideboarding out so they have to do other stuff, and Chill, of course, for red decks. This deck is really weak to Mana Disruption. There is no way to make the sideboard better against Mana Disruption. You can stifle their wastelands, which is nice. It's nice, but it's like, it's whatever. You can Plowshares the Weather Wayfarer, that's good. And of course you can Miscalculation their Armageddon, which is plausible. And you can Frantic Search through Rishton Report. So you're resistant to Mana Disruption, but I'm not going to play Sacred Ground. I'm not going to play, any other BS because, Armageddon's a card and you're going to get got by it sometimes. According to the Rescue data, we're about 50% against Terrageddon, and there are no cards that I'm excited to play against Terrageddon besides Stifle. And, you're already going to have the Plowshares, and then you can use Deep Analysis to hopefully draw you extra lands. And, or hopefully you can go land, 3 basic lands, play Face Down Angel, and then play your 4th non-basic land that they can finally Wasteland, but by then you flipped Angel, and then you're not in a bad spot. And, luckily that deck doesn't produce like infinite resources if they don't have Wayfarer active. Sylvan Library is a concern, but I'm not going to go around trying to beat Sylvan Library with Seal Cleansing because they have to have the Sylvan, otherwise you have the Seal and you're just like waiting for a target. And this deck wants to cast all of its cards. It's not a card-rich deck, so every single turn you kind of just want to spend your mana, do a thing, pass the turn, hope that your opponent can't deal with it, rinse and repeat. After both players are exhausted, you cast it Replenish or some kind of stuff. So that is my view of Replenish. People have an opposite view. They would like to be like, oh, lots of Exalted Angel, Meddling Mage in the sideboard. They play Sabo's Web. They play lots of Attunement. These are all things that I think are good when they're good. But this list is closer to what I think respects the balance of cards that are actively great, like Intuition. I love. You just Intuition for one of each. You just get your tides around, and then now you can Intuition for Stifle, which is exciting. And then of course you have the 1 Deep Analysis. And don't count out Intuitioning for lands. Intuitioning for lands is okay. Like just because it's not a bad play before you start the game, it's often a good play when you're in the game and your hand is asking you to just have one more land. The other nice thing is like Intuitioning for Ancient Tomb is pretty exciting because you get your 1 Ancient Tomb, which you really need, and then you don't get your 2nd and 3rd Ancient Tomb, which you really don't need in the future. So like that's also a thing to consider. So I think that it's okay to play lots of Intuition in the deck, and then post sideboard, you can still play lots of Intuition. You can Intuition for your bands. You can Intuition for Deep Analysis, of course. You can just you continue Intuitioning for lands, continuing Ancient Tomb. These are all good things for you to do. So, don't Intuition, I think I don't know. I don't know why people seem to hate this card, because I think that it just kind of lets you do, broken things, of course, Intuition plus Replenish, and then lets you do, totally reasonable things like, just Intuitioning for like some random card that you need that has the potential to crush the game. And of course, having 3 Stifles is big influence there. So, you have Stifle so that you can Intuition for 3 Stifles on your upkeep with the P-Tide trigger, and it's all good news. So this is going to be like a slightly more controlling deck. There are interesting bad things that can happen to you. You can obviously get crushed by opposing tides. Your own tide can get stifled, or you can stifle your tide, and then they just kind of recover. They just like, all right, like, okay, I just happen to draw a lot of lands and card draw spells, so I'm just going to recover from Parallax Tide, and you'll be gassed out because again, then you start flooding and you start drawing miscalculations. You cycle miscalculation. You just draw another land card or whatever, and then you're super sad. So it has consistency issues. You look at a lot of, if you play 16 4-drops in your deck, you're going to look at a lot of opening hands that have like 2 lands, 3 4-drops, and then 2 cards that like don't necessarily mean that you'll ever see your land. So you have to like mull a lot of 2-landers. That's going to happen. Like, I'm not going to play more lands necessarily. I think the 25th land I really want to play, like maybe the 25th land over this miscalculation or this deep analysis, who knows? Yeah, it's just, you just got to roll the dice. It's and plus the 25th land isn't even good. It needs to be like a City of Brass, because it can't be an island. It can't be a plains. Like, you can't draw a lot of plains when you've become a Parallax Tide deck, and you can't draw a lot of islands when you still sometimes need to cast these spells and you have colorless lands. So it can be a Coastal Tower. So yeah, that is my take on Replenish. I am not the most decorated Replenish pilot of all time, but I have played the deck a lot. Not as much as other people, but I think enough to sort of understand, and I've played against it enough to sort of understand what it's good at and what it's bad at. And I think that at least these innovations are worth a shot. And then of course, if they just are a slam dunk, then, we're taking this to LobsterCon, baby. So, yeah, that is Replenish. And let's jump into some matches. All right, we out here. Pretty interesting hand. Just kind of a good example of like these sort of hands that you don't know if they're good or bad. But it's kind of like good enough. Like, I have a turn 3 Parallax Tide. I have Plowshares. I have a turn 2 Opalescence. So you're going to go Parallax Tide into Opalescence and do action. My opponent's playing a combo deck, it looks like. So we need to assemble quite quickly. Merchant Scroll, probably for intuition. Okay, well, we're on the play and we have turn 3 Parallax Tide, so these are things that are working for us, and they're scrolling without the knowledge of what's up. So they probably have intuition in their hand. Well, Stifle is going to make this quite trivial almost, because now we have Tide and then we have Stifle, and we can do quite a few things. We can stifle the Storm Trigger from Brain Freeze, which is savage, and we can obviously stifle our Parallax Tide. Although I think just replenishing our Parallax Tide to like continue making it so they have 0 lands is quite good. And yeah, if in case you're wondering, it is difficult for the Iggy Pop deck to win with 0 lands in play. Ooh, Frantic Search is quite enticing here. Okay, gonna pitch Plowshares and Opalescence, and then just intuition for opals, and then just be in excellent shape. Or intuition for waves, rather. So I'm just gonna go wave, and get the second Opalescence for the double insurance. Not really necessary, obviously. And yeah, feel good all the way to the bank. And show them the business. We're going to exile this. Just gonna show you a little bit of the sort of optimal workflow here in case you ever run into it. Make your infinite mana first, then let them have it. Guess I'm shortcutting a little bit because of the situation, but I obviously have enough mana to cast everything here, so they can of course cast a spell, or actually yeah, they can cast a spell. Actually I should just play a second Parallax Wave, I guess. Now, that just kind of locks it up. Makes it so that I'll always have a parallax wave in play. Oh, I guess I need the stifle, but I actually have access to the stifle because I'm going to untap my lands. Okay, my opponent can go for the one land go off, and then they will receive the news that I have stifle for the brain freeze. Okay. Igerson McPaupersons is quite a funny one. So this is excellent. Misdirection targeting Orm's Chant is excellent. Annul doesn't really do anything. Swords of Plowshare is of course useless. Miscalculation is fine. I guess I don't really need Deep Analysis, although using it is pretty good if I get into a grindy game. Stifle is excellent. I guess Parallax Wave isn't like going too ham this game. I guess Defense Grid is an issue. Defense Grid is the one permanent that I'm not annoyed by, actually. So yeah, we want annulls. We can annul Lion's Eye Diamonds as part of the plan, but we really just want to annul Defense Grid. I think these trims are fine. I'm just assuming that if I tied them, everything's going to work out. Yeah, that's okay. And then the nulls, of course, if they end up being dead, I can pitch them to Misdirection. It's not like don't get me wrong, a null doesn't feel good, but I have to have an answer for Defense Grid, and they can cast it on turn 1 with Ancient Tomb, so a null's not even great from that point. Can't go around mulling a hand like this, unfortunately. Or fortunately, depending on how you slice it, this hand puts Parallax Tide into play on turn 3 or 4, depending on what kind of person you are. Main phase Mental Note is kind of interesting. I guess they don't want to get stifled. Flooded Strand. Interesting. Kept a pretty loose 2-lander. Wonder what that means. I'm on a loose one here. Debating whether I should cycle to hit my land drop. And yeah, I think this land drop is quite important. I want my second. I guess I should have hit this on my upkeep, but it's okay. Okay, now so I have the full combo, so they're just cooked. Unless they have it exactly this turn. And then if they do, I still have outs to stop them. I can Frantic Search into good stuff. Okay, all their colorless mana is not going to prevent them from the pretty straightforward turn 4 victory here. Sometimes it really is that easy. Great matchup, obviously. So don't look too far into the outcome here, because it's just like they have to get their turn 3 kill, or else they're just dead. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that hand in game 1 was probably fine. It just like has a tide in it. So tide is just like kind of good. You can dig it. All right, jumping into match 2, we won the die roll again. Yeah, so what does this hand do? It puts 2 4/4s into play by turn 5. If my opponent Cabal Therapies, they're if this was a soul land, I'd actually keep the hand, I think. But alas. All right, well, this hand's not much better, but maybe we can stifle a fetch land. Interesting one. And I think I will be stifling a fetch land. Especially if it's a red fetch land. Okay, we're playing against a mid-range deck. That's always good news. Oh, okay. Triple Tide, I think. I should just go Tide Deep Analysis and then be like Deep Analysis against Baron Moor is like a pretty excellent matchup. We'll see. Most Baron Moor decks can't get tided once, so probably just do Triple Tide. Oh yeah. It's almost too fast, but it's fine. It'll get there. Oh, I should have. Oh no. I would have had to play the Skycloud Expanse turn 1 if I wanted perfect mana, but it doesn't really matter. So I guess Swamp Duress is like always the problem with a line like this. I can live with that. They haven't cast a Duress yet. They've had plenty of opportunity. Okay, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what my conclusion should be. I mean, I'll have plenty of time to cook. That's the good news. But I'm in the awkward zone where, well, what I'm going to do is probably just cast Opalescence and then Replenish. Well, I have to be able to cast Opalescence is the problem. So I guess, okay, well, I can cast Opalescence, so that's excellent. Attack for 4. Yeah, and then I'll just exile the swamp and untap. I guess if they have Naturalize, I have to be worried about that. So I'll just stifle this and put 8 power on the board. That's fine. Well, it's pretty good. All right, nice game. Extremely good matchup. The Rock. Deep Analysis, good. Exalted Angel is good. Plowshares is actually hilariously not very good against the Rock. It just has no targets. I'm not going to annul Pernicious Deeds. I'm right, we don't really have to play a Frantic Search against the Rock, because we just cast our stuff, and we cast our front end, they destroy it, we cast our back end, and then we get them. Yeah, that seems fine to me. I guess Haunting Echoes is a concern. I have a miscalculation for that, though. I'm not really going to misdirection a Cabal Therapy, that's for sure. Abeyance doesn't really do anything. Yeah, this is just fine. They're just going to get Tided and or Exalted Angel. That doesn't really matter which. Yeah, this is quite a fine hand. They mull to 6. Ancient Tomb is like almost a perfect draw. If they have a discard spell next turn, it becomes less of a perfect draw, but it's really hard to go wrong here. Okay, now there's Opalescence involved, so... Oh, I guess I have to start on a Dark Waste. I'm pretty dumb sometimes. Withered Wretch, Pernicious Deed. Can't deed me if you have no lands. Phyrexian Rager, that one's near and dear to my heart. Anyways, we're going to start with the Intuition. What makes the most sense? Is it still 2 Opalescence, or is it... Or not 2 Opalescence, is it still... I'm definitely getting a wave. And then they're going to put the wave into my hand. I'm going to replenish 2 Tides, and then I'm going to cast an Opalescent, or cast a wave, then cast an Opalescence. So 1, 2, 3, fade 0. Yeah, so having 2 Tides in play is good, right? Because it beats, I don't know, beats a few random things. Getting gifted some good matchups so far. So, you know, that's always nice. Okay, so now I can do the, I mean, I have an embarrassment of riches. So I can do the upkeep trick with my intuition. I think maybe I needed to exile 1 under the other tide, because next turn goes down to 1, next turn goes down to 0. No, it's actually fine, because this one can play defense against the follow-up lands here. Yeah, and I'm currently duress proof. Cabal Therapy is fine. They know about the wave in hand, so there's that. Oh, they're naming Stifle. I don't have a Stifle. I've got worse news. Oh, but they get the flashback. I see. Doesn't matter. Whatever they don't get, I just intuition for Replenish. So I actually can do that in a pretty disgusting way, using Tide to create extra mana on my upkeep. My favorite thing. Okay, so they take the intuition, so they could. Oh well, that's just kind of rude for me. Man, when this deck gives you the cards you want, it's pretty disgusting. Yeah, there's just nothing they can do here. They can hit the Opalescence and then get the bad news. Although I guess I should have cast Opalescence that turn, because even if they, like, on one hand they could just Vendetta the Parallax side, but on the other hand they were on a 2-turn clock. So, and this is how power works. You have like, Duress can take my most powerful card, but if I have 2 gigantic powerful cards, then, you know, what are they going to do? So I think tiding this makes sense. I mean, I guess I can wait. It's tapped after all. I can just move on. Oh, their green source comes into play tapped. So even if they have something here, they won't be able to use it. So first they'll take 12, and then I can pick up this Tide, and before they can have any instance that they cast, I'll protect my wave. This will happen. They get back everything, but because they don't have a green source, they can't sneak a Naturalize onto my Opalescence. So they lose all this. They didn't float mana, but didn't matter because I can always just do the next part on my end step. This back. But I'm just going to chill because I have no reason to give them even 1 green mana in case they're playing, I don't know, the 1 green mana card that kills enchantments. Right? Got their 2-0. Yeah, I mean, that's just one of the most lopsided matches in the history of matches. It's the rock is just super cold to replenish. So 2 excellent matchups to start off the league. Wouldn't mind if that happened at the North American Premodern Championships. All right, jumping into match 3 versus Chicken Sauce. Chicken Sauce is on YouTube. I don't remember their exact handle, but it's probably just one of those, pre-modern Magic Online. I don't know what the tags. Tell me what tags you're searching if you're a pre-modern player. Because it's kind of an interesting open-ender. Right, Chicken Sauce, the basic island. What could they be up to? They are playing a mirror against me, huh? Interesting. Okay, well, we just got a lot going on. Kind of like that. Awesome Stifle. Stifle looking right at home in this deck. All right, so we kind of don't want to get rocked, but and this is a mirror, or it could just be like blue-white control, but I think we want to get this intuition in. And we want to probably, I guess we're protected from their tide because they can, if they seal their tide, I can just make them break the seal. All right, let's just get Deep Analysis, Opal, and Parallax Wave. And I think we're going to do something pretty strange here, so this is like already too big of a spot for me to think through. Oh, City of Traders basically made it completely insane. All right. Well, see what kind of blue deck they are here. They are a blue deck with counter spells. Okay, so they have their own mana leak. Okay. So we play on. Was kind of aware, but kind of unaware. But now we have the setup. Oh, they're just like a blue control deck. Okay. I think we'll play basic island here. Losing the City of Traders is quite bad, but okay, we have another tide. That's excellent. Okay, unfortunately, oh, they're gonna dust me. Okay, out of counterspell range, but I can still stifle. Don't worry about their stifles, which is obnoxious, but it is what it is. Like if they have stifle and tide here, then oh no, they're playing control replenish. Kind of interesting. Well, I don't want to get dusted again, so I think I'm just gonna play a Sky Cloud Expanse. Yeah, I can't really have my Ancient Tomb dusted. I needed one fewer Sky Cloud Expanse this game, right? But I'm not in the worst shape in the world, because I can live with this. Guess they have plenty of lands, so we do need to keep drawing our own lands. Standstill. Interesting. So I go Miscalculation, Parallax, Tide, and then I have Stifle up. It's probably good enough. It's not like the best. It's not the best like setup because they're going to draw 3 cards. It's going to give them a lot of lands, but it is also going to put them down to 0 and do the thing. They can draw the 3, but they will be tapped, so I can go boom. Boom, boom, boom. They're just like, okay, you win. They're not going to try. All right, so playing against control, just control. We have this for that. These are fine. These are great. All right, we don't have to bother with Frantic Search anymore. We can trim in Intuition. Swords of Plowshares is sometimes useful because they have stupid Middling Mago. Annul sometimes necessary. I guess I built a all right, my opponent submitted the wrong deck in game 1. But they also lost that game, and they didn't see any cards that weren't in their normal deck. So we're just going to say that game 1 I would have won anyways, or they would have gotten a game loss for presentation or, you know, whatever. But basically the same outcome. And they're saying that it's like still going to be like a blue-white control deck, and the numbers were just different. So I can live with that. I didn't see them play a single man land, right? I'm just going to keep Swords of Plowshares in case they're into Exalted Angel type debauchery. And you can actually Abance and then Swords to Plowshare as a Parallax Wave, which is kind of fun. But yeah, I have no answer to Humility, which is, you know, kind of not my favorite place to be. All right, so we're going to trim Intuition, we're going to trim on Replenish, Opal, and Wave, since the game's going to go longer, and we're going to draw more towards tasty stuff. But we still want to play the Stifle Tide game, because I'm still going to like go Abance, and then I'm going to go... Yeah, I'm still going to have Abance Stifle Tricks. I guess I don't have to go... I mean, having a null is pretty reasonable. I mean, they're likely to have. I mean, Annul gets seal cleansing too, so it's probably fine. His calculation's pretty good too. I mean, Annul gets their tides. What am I thinking? They have tide for sure, right? Blue-white control decks. Blue-white control decks just have tide. It's the law of the land. This is all fine. This is all fine, I think. I mean, maybe misdirection is worse than miscalculation. Maybe Sword of Plowshares is dumb. Maybe for one game, Swords of Plowshares is dumb, then I can make them show me the Meddling Mage. I don't know. It's not really that big of a deal to keep 2 random Swords of Plowshares, I think. I can live with it. We'll know for game 3. Okay, this hand is got a lot of good playable cards that can't be cast with the mana. Yeah. Considering I need to draw double white and draw blue cards, just kind of too bad. This is better though. We can bottom this Plowshares. I guess, yeah, we'll bottom Plowshares because we can intuition for tide and then intuition for stifle and then just do that. Should I start on our Dark Oasis? I think it's okay for me to start on Basic Island. And probably intuition for Ancient Tomb is like totally okay. There's the Mistress Factory. There's the Standstill. That's okay with me. I can keep hitting land drops, and because of the intuition to pop end step, it's quite strong. The null is right on time, as they say. They can't attack for 2 for like a lot of turns because of the threat of just getting super tided, and then that's like really quite all right with me. Now I have Replenish too, so I can intuition, I can get Abeyance, I can just cast Deep Analysis. Okay, hopefully they miss a land drop. They don't miss a land drop. I mean, if we draw a land, it's pretty strong, so we can pass for 1 more turn. Oh, drawing tide is pretty good too. Okay, I think we are just gonna get Ancient Tomb here. What could we possibly want elsewise? This could also just eat a counterspell. We could also just get Triple Angel. What should we get? I think we just get Triple Ancient Tomb. We could also get Abeyance. We'll get Abeyance with the second one, so we can go Abeyance and then, or we can have Abeyance access. And then, yeah, we kind of negated a good portion of the upside from that Standstill. So, well, now we just rock the tides, right? So we just go tide, tide, tide. We don't have to pass this turn. The problem is like they can go tide and counter back, but that's just life, man. Like I don't have an answer to tide counter back. So we can go tide, replenish, tide, replenish, and then if I have the third land, intuition for Abeyance, and then finally stick, finally stick it after multiple turns. Fact or Fiction's kind of good. Oh, Decree's whatever. I don't care. There's the Dark Oasis. So yeah, we'll cast the first Replenish here. We'll cast it like this. It's totally fine. This can get mana leaked. That's okay. Then we intuition. Then we replenish again. Decree in response. All right. Can't believe I had all these deep analysis and literally no time to cast them somehow. Okay, beatdown plan is engaged. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess I should have kept something up. No, it's okay. because I have quite a few answers here. I can just annul the seal cleansing. There's the animation. Okay. So smash for 8. Okay, end step intuition. And get 2 P waves and opalescence. They put the opalescence into my hand. Okay, so yeah, we want to absolutely get Parallax Wave in play next turn. So if we get the stifles, it doesn't do anything, right? So I have to get the Parallax Wave in play next turn, and then I can do that in Parallax Wave, and Opalescence. They put the Opalescence into my hand, and then yeah, I just hope that I draw a misdirection or something exciting and good. Is there a better line? Just go wave, opalescence. I mean, I have the annul for seal cleansing. They're going to get all their lands back. This is a reality. And then is waving for, okay, I have to do the opalescence, so they have to give it in my hand, because waving for 5 won't even remove all the damage from the battlefield. So yeah, I have to draw misdirection this turn. The beatdown plan super worked for them. I guess if I didn't miss that land drop, or I could have navigated differently. I probably could have like intuitioned for Abeyance earlier, had Abeyance in my hand, then gone for intuition for the trifecta, then gone for Abeyance Replenish, but then I had Sealix Cleansing covered. Kind of interesting. They have their own annuls. It's so awkward not being sure if they're a tied deck, but it's seeming less and less like they are. Interesting. Sacrificing a land doesn't do anything for me here. Okay, they have Chain of Vapor, so they're definitely a tied deck. Alright, so they get 5 lands. What does that imply for us? I don't know. I mean, all their soldiers are going to be gone. Yeah, there's an Exalted Angel right on time. All right, 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the Replenish that gets through Mana Leak at least. Okay. Passing the turn here. No cards. Just nothing. They're just doing literal nothing. Huh. I did not expect literal nothing on the menu. Seal Cleansing? Yeah, I mean, Seal Cleansing is fine. It doesn't really change things. I mean, like, I just don't want to get tided, right? Because if I get tided, I'm just, like, crushed. I can just, like, let them Seal Cleansing my Opalescence, but I still have a, like... I still have like a P wave and they have no battlefield. I still have both P waves and they have no battlefield. Yeah, it's okay. I just have to fight the tide. White mana. Second Seal Cleansing. Also doesn't really matter. Yeah, it doesn't really make a difference here. All right, well, I'll take 5 soldiers with me. You don't play Chain of Vapor unless you're playing Tide. But I have kind of discerned that they don't have Meddling Mage, right? So Null is a sideboard card. They've only cast 1 sideboard card against me. They should have attacked and then Seal Cleansing the big one, like the one with more counters. Them doing stuff pre-combat, I think, is a blunder, because this just gave me the best possible wave. Like, if they attacked, I would have had to go like 3 and 3, and then, you know, whatever. I guess I didn't see that, though. Okay, so this makes it so they can attack for 4. That's fine. That's smart. Attacking for 4 turns off my Ancient Tomb. It's quite powerful. But, of course, now I have Tide, and then Tide is giving me some hope here. I didn't see that they were taking that line. So this line is at least interesting. I think attacking first is, like, pretty strong. Oh, okay. If it's just going to produce a win, then they got it. Okay. They sequence it perfectly. No, the misdirection. Where were you? Okay, that's fine. All right, so we're not going to do Swords of Plowshares, and we are going to do more miscalculation, but we're pretty happy with the rest. And then no Graveyard Hate. It makes intuition a little bit more enticing. I mean, miscalculation is still pretty strong. I'm boarding in more 3-drops, right? So the Chain of Vapor for Exalted Angel is quite good as well. Tapping out is just super awkward, but because it's interesting, I don't want to be not a tap out deck against control decks, because I have to have sorcery speed cards in my deck, so there's no point in not having tap out elements. And being on the play, I can get this angel down really quick and put them under a lot of pressure. So, man, I don't think that was playable as a 2-lander. This is playable though. Let's keep this. And I think we get rid of this misdirection. I'm like guaranteed to resolve something. I mean, Parallax Wave just kind of does nothing. Guaranteed to resolve something. I'll drop the Parallax Wave because I'm going to go ahead and like plausibly intuition for the trifecta. Which I think is, if I intuition for the trifecta into Replenish, then the misdirection becomes awesome. And so does the Stifle becomes playable there too. Stifle's going to be playable right away though. Oh, there's the wave I was asking for. Island. So I'm ahead, just not for long. Intuition then. Going to get deep, and Opal. I have a null. Extremely comforting in times like these. Nice. I mean, not like the nicest, but not nice. You know what I mean? Standstill, fine. I mean, they have 6 cards in hand. It's like, whatever. Oh, okay. Let's just face down an Exalted Angel this turn. Kind of conservative here. Chain of Vapor. Fine. 9 cards. Oh my god. Please play like a Parallax Tide. Seal Cleansing. Seal Cleansing's fine. It doesn't really interact with what I'm doing currently. Sea of Traders is pretty interesting. Okay. Oh, I guess I should have played the Traders because then I could go end step flip, but now I have to go like main phase flip. All right. Value is getting valued. The value is valuing. I guess I should have deeped that turn. Tide. Huh. All right. Interesting stuff can happen. Probably playing. I should probably start thinking a little harder, but I am a little bit behind on clock. I can resolve their Factor Fiction. What have you got? A couple Factor Fictions and a null, a Chain of Vapor. Yeah, double fact is fine. I mean, I know that I'm gonna cast a Parallax Tide and then try to set it up to do something good. So okay, they want all the interaction. That's interesting. They want Chain of Vapor. They want Coastal Tower. I guess I should have had a null plus hardcast misdirection. I'm just gonna play 2 Parallax Tides. I actually gotta do the thing now. This is so confusing. So the thing I'm thinking about doing is being able to go Abeyance on my upkeep and then activating all the Parallax Tides, and then that stops them from ever Seal Cleansing. So the way it would work is I put 5 Tide activations on the stack, and then I get their Seal Cleansing. So Okay, so they have a Chain of Vapor in their hand. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana, so I only have enough mana for 1 Tide and an Abeyance. So I'm going to start off with Deep Analysis, then I'm going to play Tide. Huh. Okay, I'm still going to play Tide. Play Tide. They just have a null, right? I forgot about that. Right. Okay. Okay, I can just lose 5 lands. This is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to lose 5 lands. It's okay. It's okay, guys. It's okay. I forgot they have a null in their hand. Oh my god. Somebody save me from myself. Okay. Just don't mind me. Oh boy. Okay, they just have nothing. That's fine. Sky Cloud Expanse. All right. I somehow cast Deep Analysis 3 times this game and am not ahead. So AMA, but that's okay. As soon as we draw in like Intuition or something, I mean, we're flooding, right? We're flooding and we boarded out all the looting in our deck. So technically we kind of did a poo-poo. Yeah. So we're just like in the Replenish Intuition waiting room, which is okay. There's Dust Bowl. Dust Bowl doesn't do anything. They have 6 cards in hand. I can't just take a bunch of damage and what am I trying to do? Like be good in case I draw Naked Opal within a couple turns. Seems okay. There's an Exalted Angel. Oh my god. Some of the most annoying text messages coming from me right now. So play Ancient Tomb, face down. Face down Exalted Angel. Exalted Angel resolves. Okay. Protected from Swords to Plowshares here. This could do it. This could also make for things to be crazy bad. Very Conclave. Alright, show me the bad news. Wrath of God. What is happening? Wrath of God? 4 mana available. Well, my P-Wave isn't doing anything with 1 counter on it, so I'll just go ahead and bring it to 0. And this opens up their Swords to Plowshares, but that's okay, right? Because I can also just go Abeyance, Replenish, Stifle. I wish I had a fetch land right now. Whatever. Opalescence. Not really the card I want to draw. But not like a completely useless card. I think I'll play Traders because I want to hardcast Misdirection. Boy, man, this matchup has been too hard for me to think through. It's really hard to tell. Like I've been sitting here with this Abeyance for a really long time, and it's been pretty useless. I have enough mana for Abeyance, Misdirection, whatever. Okay, so this next turn is when they're gonna rip the Decree of Justice. Oh well, that's an answer to that. Yeah, I'm just gonna do that. Don't get me wrong, getting blue-white controlled is like a pretty sad outcome for me. Like I typically think that I beat blue-white control, but the cards have been coming in a really not the order that I want them to, and I don't know exactly what's to blame for that. You can definitely blame my construction of the deck. Like I can make this deck be more bulletproof against blue-white control, but I do kind of feel like I've been doing all the right things, and I've just been put in. I mean, maybe I drew too many lands. Like, I actually cut 2 lands from the deck, which is more aggressive than before. So, I drew intuition for the deep analysis. I got loaded up on cards. I got kind of a lot of the stuff that I needed. So, kind of hard to say what went wrong exactly. But I have 2 more looks at Replenish. So let's go ahead and get them. Counterspell. All right. I mean, it makes no difference how many Ancient Tombs I tap this turn, I think. Oh, that puts me down to 2 though? Oh, well, it doesn't matter. And then I don't have enough mana for Intuition Replenish. I have 1 short. Fucking disgusting. I hope I don't draw Intuition. Okay, so if I draw Intuition, I just can't even get... Oh no, I do have enough mana for Intuition Replenish if I draw it. Okay. The mana leak here means that that Replenish becomes my only out. Well, there's no response to this, I think. I have whatever. So mana leak resolves and I'll pay, and then the top card has to be Replenish. Come on, dealer, 1 time. Woof. Island. Do I get mad? I have 4, 8, 11, 12, 13 lands. 13 lands and 14 spells. I mean, maybe I should have sideboarded out a land. It's kind of ridiculous. Oh, God, that's just so interesting. I mean, maybe I should have just let the stupid angel. I should have used my Bance to make sure I had an angel in play. I mean, that's so ridiculous, though. Like, if I draw Intuition or Replenish, I can use a Bance to make sure that Replenish resolves. It's just like... Like, the angel wouldn't win the game. They showed Wrath of God. Swords of Plowshares, they can just draw another Swords of Plowshares. They could have even had one in their hand, right? So if I, like, a Bance to resolve the angel... The other thing is, if I Bance to resolve the angel, they can just seal cleansing the Parallax Wave in response and then just stifle that. So it doesn't work. Well, I guess if they seal cleansing the... No, yeah, it would be fine. I was thinking I could somehow misdirect the stifle. I just drew too many lands, right? Like, I drew my money cards. I resolved some annuls. I didn't get tided. It's a pretty tough spot for me to just be like worried about getting tided and then being able to avoid that. Like, at no point could I have gotten Opal Wave into play. I mean, it is pretty cool. Like, I had like, what's nice is that if I have Opal Wave into play and my opponent's under a Bance, then they can't break it up with seal cleansing, and then I exile their seal. Maybe I should have tried harder to make that happen instead of just sort of using my enchantments as like seal bait or just bait in general. It's hard to say. Yeah, I mean, come on. I drew 6 cards. Like, deep flashback deep is like super excellent. There's just like no way that drawing 6 cards is like not going to be an excellent thing for you. Like, I drew so many lands. I mean, I got to the point where I could have just annulled seal cleansing and like let Parallax Tide resolve. Like, just be like, okay, you can tide me. I have 1,000 mana. I mean, it turns their mana leaks back on, which is not great though. So I don't know, man. Angel. it's just too easy for counterspell decks to choose what they need to counter, right? They can just be like, oh, Parallax Wave resolves, not that big of a deal. So you're sitting there, you just like use Parallax Wave, you barely exchange it for a card, right? Like I ended up changing it for Stifle. So traded for Stifle, that was good. Got a couple soldier tokens off the board. Maybe got me a turn. So it got me a draw step, got a Stifle. It's like not the worst, but like the rest of the time, it's just kind of like, I'd rather not get it. Yeah, it's just too hard to be like, okay, first I need to put Parallax Wave in play, then I need to put Opalescence in play, and then like, then I trade the Opalescence trades for Seal Cleansing, so then I need to go Abeyance and then get the combo together. And then of course the last thing was if I had like Attunement in my deck, and I assumed that I would keep it in versus control decks, which is like not something that I would typically do, even if I was running Attunement. You can certainly turn your mana flood games into more combo games where you're just using Attunement to put together, you know, Abeyance, Replenish turns. But that's like super slow, and like, I don't know, blue-white control and similar decks are not so popular in the format that you can get to that point where you have 8 lands and you've been spinning Attunement. And then also against Mono Blue Tide, they're just much faster at tiding you. So like, you know, tapping out for Attunement just means that you'll get, you know, Parallax Tide mana leaked out or whatever, because you're like playing so much sorcery speed stuff. So, you know, maybe I can just keep into Frantic Search to like, you know, go Parallax. I can go like Abeyance and then Frantic Search to like unlock my mana. So I go Abeyance with like 3 mana up. They're like, oh, that's not that scary. And then you have Frantic Search out of nowhere. But I don't know. Even that doesn't seem that exciting. So yeah, I don't know. Not too much I feel like I could have done differently, but definitely a tough matchup to lose when, you know, some people who like playing blue and don't like playing Dreadnought are going to be playing these heavy blue control decks. And then, you know, I normally like my deck against heavy blue control decks, but their decks are also running Tide. So like my deck is a lot worse when it has to play defense in addition to offense, right? It used to be that they didn't have Tide, so you just didn't have to play defense. You just would go, like try to Tide combo them, try to mess them up. And then now you're just like trying to defend against Tide. So, you know, you could certainly, do it by casting Abeyance in response to the Tide and having Seal Cleansing, like a 2-card combo to beat them. But that's just like so face up. If they have their own Seal Cleansing or like an extra activator, they can just Seal Cleansing your seal, and then you and then they can Stifle, Chain of Vapor, do whatever they need. So but good data on the match. Glad I played it and could see where some of the vulnerabilities are, but don't know how it would change, because, you know, I think I executed the plan that I came in with, and it was just clear that it just wasn't quite enough. All right, rockin' round 4 versus Grant Fly. Got a win out with Replenish. I already don't like my deck list. I want to add more looting to it. This deep analysis would be a careful study, which is like completely nutso in this hand, but this hand is also completely nutso, right? I just get the win on turn 4, so. Get the win on turn 4 with a not very painful mana base, and of course the possibility to just win on turn 3 if I draw a soul land. How sweet is that? Don't play an island. Plains. I can deal with plains. I can deal with mom. I can deal with mother of moms. Is this just going to be white weenie? Yes. All right. If I get wastelanded, then I'm not happy, but you should definitely attack with mom there. I don't have Swords of Plowshares. I would have Swords of Plowshares while the mom was something sick. That is definitely a key thing right there. Something that you should watch out for in your games. And I even have a Stifle for Wasteland. It's kind of interesting. Not that it's good just because I kind of have to use all my mana, but... Oh, I guess my opponent's on the play. So, Weathered Wayfarer. Oh, okay, so that will need to take a miscalculation, because I don't want to hand him the Wasteland for free. Wasteland and then Armageddon is sort of the only way I lose this game. But if he does play his 3rd land and I get it, then I'm just sort of cooked. I have to Intuition for 3 lands. Yeah, okay. So we are unfortunately Not happy. Yeah, because we just didn't draw the... Oh, man. If I knew I was going to draw a basic land, I wouldn't counter the Weather Wayfarer, man. That's not fair. Ugh. Okay, well, I guess 2 cards in hand. I just have to not get Armageddon, or I could Frantic Search into something good. There's the Wasteland. Luckily, that doesn't help. Oh, but Armageddon does. Oh, Linsivy. I'm sorry, Linsivy, but you are not quite going to do it. 1 Tide, 1 Parallax Wave, and 1 Opalescence is what the doctor ordered. And the bad news is this deck is broken. So almost a loss if I got Geddent, and otherwise a turn 4 win on the draw. Exalted Angel's fine. It's not really a matchup where having Tide matters, because most of the time I'm just going to annihilate their battlefield with the combo. I could keep in a couple Stifles for Wasteland, and then also with the knowledge that they could have Tormod's Crypt type stuff. And Annul would be interesting for like Seal Cleansing, but probably not that interesting. Third Stifle doesn't seem good, I think. I could Stifle a Mother of Runes. And yeah, I have to have Miscalculation for Stupid Armageddon, and then the rest of these cards are too strong. Maybe Deep Analysis is like kind of bad because my life total is going to be under pressure, so I'm just like never going to flash it back. I could live with that. Can't misdirect anything, honestly. Play 1 Abeyance or the other Tide. I guess Deep Analysis is better than Abeyance. Or is it? Yeah, I mean, I just want to be more likely to set the combo up. So even just putting a card in my deck that says Cycling is like pretty reasonable. Yeah, this is a hand. It should be mentioned that having Stifle P-Wave is just like totally fine, and then Stifle Wasteland is like totally fine. So that's Ramosian. I don't know if I'm in the Plowshares targeting Ramosian mood. Yeah, I have to Plowshares like Future Weathered Wayfarer and whatever, and this is just too slow. It just doesn't put any power on the battlefield that they can't put from their hand. And attacking for 1 is not impressive. I guess I should have played this though because of the chance I would draw a Soul Land. Okay, I gotta stop calling it. Oh, and I have to like, I mean, I just like don't want to get wastelanded. Can I just play P-Wave here, right? And then use it to buy me some time. I don't want all my blue sources to be from non-basics though, but maybe it doesn't matter. Guy's Cradle. Okay. What are you going to do with all that mana? And does it matter? Should I be scared that my opponent has 4 mana? It's probably just going to put a Whip Quarter into play. Tormod's Crypt. Well, that made my life pretty simple. I know exactly what I need to do. Okay, just going to play P-Wave and then Stifle it later or something. I don't know. Double Frantic Search. Awkward. I'm just going to take like a bunch of looks at Opalescence, I believe. Oh, my opponent found the line. What am I supposed to do? It's actually annoying that he's putting a lot of shitters on the battlefield, right? All right, I'm just going to leave this wave because Even though this mana is like a little scary, it's just kind of like, okay, you can have the mana, and if all you're gonna do is just like spin rebels, then like I don't care, because it just doesn't matter. Like the rebels are a bunch of guys. The only way that this goes is like guy dies, like either the guys die or don't. I mean, I guess he can just be disciplined with a disenchant type effect, right? But then I'm still drawing towards potential goods, and I just like need to give myself the most amount of time to find opalescence. Okay, that is how you do it, I guess. I don't really want to expose to a wasteland, and I do want to. The thing is, if I get the Tomb Wastelanded, then I want to have 4 mana next turn, which is the problem. Yeah, so I do need to have 4 mana available. Obviously can't activate Defiant Falcon here. Understands that. Guess I gave him a draw step, so I should have just done the upkeep. I guess the Falcon is chunkier than well, no, I'm just going to hit both, right? Because you can choose to disenchant the Parallax Wave, and then... well, no, I want to have a 5 counter wave at the end of this. Oh, returns? Okay. Everything dies? Okay. I just win? Should I frantic search for like a second opalescence? I'm going to wait till I have exactly... No, I do have 2 cards I want to discard in my hand, so... Yeah, whoops. Okay, I messed that up. Should have gotten in for 8. Okay, we won anyways. GG's, extremely good matchup. Getting a lot of free ones. Yeah, a lot of free ones. I mean, this is kind of just showcasing that this deck has pretty lopsided matchups. There are hard matchups. Blue-white control obviously showed that it was difficult, but yeah. All right, time to battle. 2 more on the play, so we win. Triple intuition draw with 2 Ancient Tombs. I haven't seen a more keepable hand in my life. Now I don't even have to intuition for 3 intuitions. And I look like Dreadnought for a turn, which is my favorite thing to do. So as long as I don't get wastelanded out of this universe, I will be good. Oh no, don't Cabal Therapy me. Well, don't have a 0-drop creature, I guess. This is not good. Boom. Remember when I said we get to look like Dreadnought for a turn? This is what I meant. Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, Creature, Rotling Reanimator, Flashback Cabal Therapy, GG. Okay. We gotta make this look easy. My opponent is holding me on my draw step. Wow. Must be nice to always just get exactly what you want all the time. Am I gonna like top deck a plains next turn? Ooh, black-red. Ravenous Rats? Oh yeah. I accept. Shouldn't I just intuition? How does this work? So I could intuition and then just discard the thing, and then they're like not going to be able to resist Cabal Therapying me for like whatever. But I also think I should just discard intuition. I mean, yeah, I should probably just discard intuition, because if I intuition and then discard the thing that I intuition for, it might tip them off that my plan is to cast Replenish, the Replenish that is true. And that's like okay. I mean, I guess the one thing is that they could give me Tide, and then I can draw like the plains and then not get the Tide. That was an interesting turn. I think it was tempting there to just pitch the opalescence to the rats, but I would just lose the 2 intuitions anyways. But I guess I ended up losing all 3 intuitions and keeping opalescence in my hand. And then replenishing Parallax Tide is not necessarily good, because I could end up getting my opalescence Cabal Therapy or Duress next turn if they're just holding Swamp Cabal Therapy. I don't really love casting second Ancient Tomb, but I guess if I draw a looter, having a bunch of colorless mana around is like, could be useful. I'm gonna chill one turn on playing the land because they could just be like a Lavaborn Muse deck, and I think that those are all things that are worth considering. So this is a good example of what happens sometimes. Yeah, they can call therapy Replenish now. Guess I should have gotten Deep Analysis instead. That's okay. I mean, I'm one Replenish away from being in okay shape, and there's no clock on the battlefield yet. And yeah, exactly. I'm just holding the Ancient Tomb so I don't get racked up. But my all looting deck tends not to do well against the rack. That's for sure. But I get a miscalculation in the next Ravenous Rats. Okay, I get a miscalculation in that, which is pretty tasty. Not that I wanted to cast it with Ancient Tomb, but that's where we are. There's the white source. Am I gonna cast Opalescence if I draw out? I mean, I don't want to get hit by random discard, and I want to be able to Plowshares or Rats with the trigger on the stack. Probably not necessary, but I do want to Plowshare something. Okay, they just do nothing. Okay, that's excellent for me. Okay. So I was thinking about going down to 3 Ancient Tombs because specifically there's very little you can do with 2 Ancient Tombs on the battlefield. I'm just getting bold-faced. Okay. So this could be a machine head situation. Luckily they are not Insidious Dreamsing me yet. This Flooded Strand Opalescence situation is actually super awkward because now I'm gonna like get this I have to get planes here because if I get another planes, then I want to cast Opalescence and Plowshare it sometimes. I mean, probably rarely, but considering that I'm just getting bold-faced, that might be like a thing that I should do. Okay, so there's the Mishra's Factory. Seems like Insidious Dreams is... Oh, it's just Lavaborn Muse. Okay. So Skycloud Expanse means that I can play everything in my hand, which is probably good enough considering the situation. So I would go down to... I would be under the rack for a turn. So what if I plowed the Lavaborn Muse? If I go down to 5, is that a problem? Could I plow the Lavaborn Muse, pass, plow the factory, then cast Opalescence? So I'll go down to 5. I could take 1 rack damage, and then I'll go down to 4. They have a Ravenous Rats or a discard spell that lets them get something they know about. They could also terminate my untapped Opalescence and then get in with Mishra's Factory. Okay, that's enough reason for me to chill 1 turn, I think. However, I do want to play... So if I play Skycloud Expanse and then next turn I draw a Painless Mana Source, I can play the Painless Mana Source, play Opalescence, and then Plowshare is my Opalescence, and then I'll have 1 card in hand remaining, and then I'll just like never cast my Ancient Tombs again. The other thing is that they might just not animate their Mishra's Factory. Minimizing rack damage doesn't feel bad here. It looks like they're going to struggle to find the last bit of gas. I mean, this also smells like maybe their hand is multiple Lavaborn Muses. And that's like another reason why it was good to hold up double Plowshares this turn. So yeah, so they're just mono 4-drop hand over there. So I would love a Parallax Tide this turn. I don't know how good that is. I mean, it would like time walk them. Okay, so they went up to 21, so attack them down to 17, whatever. Guess I'll save 1 damage by taking 1 damage here. If I get the second Blazing Spectre, which it kind of seems like they have, or they go terminate attack with Mishra's Factory, I'm like in a little bit of trouble. I will also want to be able to intuition for Replenish next turn though. But if I intuition for Replenish, I actually just die to the rack. It's kind of funny. Huh. Opalescence, attack, get my Opalescence terminated, take 2, take 3, go down to 4, draw a card. If I cast a card, I could die. I can't do anything else. Can't do anything else right now. I'm just going to die to the Blazing Spectre. I had the 1 turn window to draw a white source with my triple intuition hand, and I missed it. I'm going to lose to a black mid-range deck with my Replenish deck. It's actually, you know, it's actually pretty bad, pretty meaningfully bad. Things do get better with my Exalted Angel. So let's see if I draw Replenish this turn, or Tide. This Tide needs to attack 4 times. Well, anyways, I'm taking 1 damage to save 2 damage here. I'm taking the red source is good. And then what I can do is see what I draw. I'm gonna like lose to like just a Ravenous Rats. I mean, they have 2 cards in hand. They could have cast anything that they wanted. They prioritize getting damage. They haven't played lands for multiple turns. They could be playing a card that cost RR that they haven't been able to cast. They could just like have been too scared to cast Insidious Dreams without like whatever cast. Or they're just like sitting on an Erratic Explosion. Like they have Erratic Explosion and Draco in their hand, or they just have Burning Wish and they haven't gotten to the point where they can use it. Like exiling the factory just takes a counter off my Parallax Tide, which is like not that good. But if I'm going to do it anyways, but like I just kind of don't know what I want to do it, if I want to do it, but I don't know if any card that I could draw could change that. I mean, I don't really want them to cast a Phyrexian Arena right now. I had 4 draw steps to try to win the game. Really just 3 draw steps to try to win the game if I exile. I think I'm like drawing towards Parallax Wave or Intuition or Replenish. And I'm just exiling red so that I don't get bolted. Like they'd have to like top deck bolt. They could just be holding a red source. They could be holding lands because they know that holding lands is good. Come on. Oh my god. Of course there's a card that costs BB1 that could completely ends my life. All right, one draw step, 1 wish. There it goes. All right, I just lose. All right, how many draw steps did I need to fade? That didn't help. That didn't help. That kind of helps. Oh, I would have just missed entirely. Woof. All right. That's fine, I guess. So deep analysis is obviously excellent. This is a deck that doesn't want to get stifle-tided, but we do want to have room for Exalted Angel, and we are going to get like red blasted next match, which is something to be concerned about. Yeah, I'm just not going to play a bunch of Frantic Search against the rack deck. That's okay. And then I kind of want to play Misdirection. Abeyance is a way to defeat the Erratic Explosion combo, but it looks like they're just playing mono shitter type stuff, like mono creature guys. We just don't have to play like lots of Stifle Tides. Like we are still probably going to do it in like the old-fashioned way, because Intuition is actually really good, because Intuition will get me my deep analysis, and deep analysis is excellent. And yeah, they have like a bunch of 4 drops. not going to play a null just for Phyrexian Arena. That's not a concern of mine. I think this is okay. I think maybe I still want to be able to Intuition for Stifle. I'm really just misdirecting bolts and Red Blasts, but just misdirecting bolts and Red Blasts is actually kind of good. All right, I'll trim one Intuition. I can't trim the Intuition. I'll just trim this calculation. All right. That game is like a really, really good example of what I really dislike about this deck, which is like, okay, I like did this thing and like got everything all set up and got like a little disrupted and then only drew nothing. And like attunement, I don't think would have been great in that situation because like I had pressure and my opponent had the rack in play. So I take the most powerful card I have available to me. The second most powerful card I have available to me. Okay, hopefully they're not in the Wasteland category of decks because then I'm just going to be in trouble. Withered Wretch. All right. Should I trade Withered Wretch for Plowshares? I don't actually think so. It doesn't matter right now. I don't have a Replenish in hand. I'm not going to get any artifacts in my graveyard. Or any enchantments in my graveyard rather. And they might play like Hypnotic Spectre, which is like a bigger deal. That's like that's the reason why I'm not plowing the Wretch. They're like a Hypnotic Spectre, Blazing Spectre deck, so they're just more likely to do bigger meanie things to me. Just taking the Plowshares so that they can bolt. Oh, they duress to take the misdirection. All right, that's fine. They need to Cabal Therapy if I find the source. Good brick. I mean, often brick. What am I saying? What was this misdirection when I'd board out for it? Frantic Search? Frantic Search wouldn't be that good here. Until I draw Replenish, of course. Funeral Charm? Oh, they can also sandbag a Dystopia. Okay. Not a huge fan of how this is going. Deck, please. As long as this doesn't end in the rack getting cast, I can actually just win if I draw planes. But I have like a mild inclination that there's going to be a Dystopia in my future. And I guess I could have thought about, there's no way I'm like setting up all my stuff and then annulling a Dystopia. Holy God. Deck. I mean, at this point, it's like better to pitch the Opalescence almost. Like my last draw is going to be Intuition. I mean, they could just Cabal Therapy. Yeah. What happened? I don't know. I had misdirection in my hand. It didn't do anything. Well, there's that, but this Dystopia is like literally just going to do the thing. Or it could just be Anarchy, which would be even like crazier. I mean, I can try and I either lose to Bolt or lose to Terminate. It's kind of a funny situation. Ironically, the Dystopia kills my Opalescence, which matters if I top deck Wave. Losing to Bolt is pretty bad from this spot, though. There's this. Oh, this is just Hippie? It's just Hippie Factory? Okay. What's nice is that this is a lock against most black-red decks. Anyways, I lose to Terminate, which is embarrassing, but okay, I don't lose to Terminate anymore. Well, that is why you take some time to sort of understand the stack, and it's actually really funny that I had to choose between playing around Terminate and playing around Bolt, and this is where I got. But yeah, I'm powerless against the rack, so hopefully that's not the card that they have. No Red Blasts, and yeah, them just playing Terminate, huh? I mean, I guess I should not play Exalted Angel. I should probably still play Exalted Angel. Boy, am I glad that they cast that Terminate. I would have just lost the game. And if you're lost here, basically, they just had to wait until I targeted the Parallax Wave itself. That's why I was saying I need to play around Terminate by holding 2 counters on the Parallax Wave, but then I would have gone to 3. And obviously, going to 3 against the deck with bolts is like not the thing to be doing. So the other interesting thing is that the fact that they didn't show Dystopia is like good news for me. But I mean, it would have won them that game if it was one of their many cards in hand. But yeah, they didn't show it. It didn't happen. It's not something to worry about. Yeah, I'll deep analysis targeting me. Okay, so I changed my mind about these cards a little bit. I mean, misdirection also misdirects like bolts and angels and stuff like that. I mean, the other option is that I could just play chill, but there's no point in boarding out my tides to play chill. It kind of just ends up being the same thing. Like chill is like a preemptive counter for Blazing Spectre. The fact that it slows down, terminates, and bolts is like not really a point of excitement. Interesting spot to ponder. Is there anything I can stifle out of their deck? It's like I could just play Frantic Search instead of these 4 cards. And I can even just play Abeyance because getting deeper into my deck and then stopping Withered Wretch stopping Withered Wretch is pointless because they're not going to know. It sounds like my opponent's sort of unfamiliar with what's happening. I mean, we're free rolling. We should have just lost that game, and then we didn't. We would have just lost that game. We would have just lost to black-red mid-range, like already being like, okay, well, let's just write this one off for LobsterCon. There's no way I'm going to play this if I could possibly lose to Machine Head. I mean, they're pretty proactive. They have a bunch of random creatures. Obviously, I could cast Parallax Tide quite early, and then that's good. But if they don't draw Withered Wretch, then like my ability to just like Frantic Search them out of the game is still good. Randomly making mana is fine, and then I can always discard the Frantic Search to their discard or exile it to misdirection. Instantly get drawn to Frantic Search. It's actually a good hand to draw a bunch of Frantic Search, but Wild Therapy. Okay, they've identified that Intuition is the card that they're scared of, which I don't know. Wild Therapy in the dark against Replenish. I mean, they're certainly not naming Attunement. All right. I guess with this hand, I am going to Plowshare as a Withered Wretch. Oh, just the rack. Rack Curse Scroll. Okay, this is a much less scary start than I had imagined. Nice basic planes. Pretty good here. I guess I should... No, I have to play the planes. Because if they play Hippie, I need to Plowshare as the Hippie and then save this to get the island so that I can sequence my next turn well. And next turn is going to be a fun one where I get to do the mana trick and then sort of like choose my own adventure. I'll thin 1 island out of my deck. Yeah. And I'm on the draw against the rack. Oh, nice little Curse Scroll Phyrexian Arena combo I didn't notice. All right. Looking for P-Wave. Okay, didn't get it. So I have the option to Frantic Search one more time and then Plowshare as the Arena. So the pros are I Plowshare as the Arena, and the cons are I get hit by the next thing, but they have 2 cards left in hand. I'm actually just going to discard the lands because I don't need them. And I might want to frontside this deep analysis. So there's a lot of card disadvantage that's about to happen, but I think it's okay. I've also tapped my Ancient Tomb 3 times this turn, which is like not good. As far as like having a life total is concerned against like some pressure. But we can get through this. Okay, we can also just hard cast a There's hard casting Exalted Angel. No, we have to like Plowshare's Arena, right? Because they'll just draw the removal for the stupid angel. Pretty obnoxious. Man, I hate this deck, honestly. I don't like being put in these spots against like a deck like this where it's just like it's just so easy and obvious to like crush whatever they would be doing normally, but instead I'm just like sweating some like stupid unimportant decisions. I mean, I could always just pitch the Exalted Angel here, just pitch Exalted Angel and Replenish, and then just keep all the Plowshares. I have an Opalescence. Just because it dies to Terminate and Bolt, and like right now it's just like better if my hand does other things. I mean, it's just like a thing to be doing. I just Replenish, and I'm gonna ditch the Deep Analysis. No, the Deep Analysis is too strong. Having one Plowshares left isn't like my favorite world to be in after this turn, but especially because my life total is all of a sudden like a problem. But because like they could do a number of things that are kind of scary and bad for me, mostly like discard. The Spectre could hit me and then that would suck. Yeah. All right, I'm under the rack. I need to get out from the rack. I'm never fronting this angel anymore. Another Deep Analysis. Okay, we just need to kind of defend our life total. They're down to one card in hand. So they get to Curse Scroll me, and then I like speed that clock up significantly once I start deeping. Okay, I can live with that, right? All right, if I deep, I go down to 6, then I go down to 6, then I go down to like 3. They could Cabal Therapy me, so I'll take 2 damage, 3 damage, so I get down to 3, and then potentially the 4th damage. I mean, what do I have to do? I have to draw towards... God, I have to draw towards so much stuff. I'm also not going to like pass the turn without casting anything. I'm just going to die to Bolt here. Oh yeah, I'm just dead. Okay. GG's Machine Head won 3 games to 0. Oh my god, get rid of this deck. Alright, well. I mean, I guess if I found, like, I don't know, better stuff. Maybe I just am never supposed to tap Ancient Tomb a bunch. I mean, the Frantic Search has killed me there. I actually just lost to the Frantic Search, right? Because I was like, okay, well, I can just like put Opal Wave onto play, and then that's like really good for me. But then I didn't put Opal Wave into play, and then like they had Arena on that turn. Yeah, I guess if I just fronted the Angel and like wasn't afraid of the Terminate, then well, their Arena would have just cooked for a while. Yeah, I just shouldn't have had a Frantic Search in my deck. Or I should have, even if I have it, I shouldn't have cast it twice. I should have just like been like discard the first one to the first one and then just like do something else with my time. Ripping pepperonis. Time is it? I have time for more. It's 9:19. Yeah. Let's try to get the last one in. Demoralizing. I don't even think my opponent drew like particularly well against me. I think they drew just like some of the disruptive like discard spells in their deck and some of the like disruptive threats in their deck. I mean, all Specters is like good against combo. Even if the combo deck wants stuff in its graveyard, it's not like I can just like wait to top deck Replenish. And game 1, I just needed a white mana. And it's like also if my deck is just like built around looting, then it's just kind of a liability. Man, I was so ready to play Replenish, and now I'm just kind of like not about it. Do we double room? We didn't. Oh, they got in. All right. On the play, final match. Not going to make the cut for the third time in a row. Pretty keepable hand. Rip the Sky Cloud Expanse because I'm going to draw specifically anything. Starting on Sky Cloud Expanse is always interesting there, but I don't have to. Okay. I like where this is going. Oh, don't like where this is going anymore. Okay, so we kind of need to get some things together. Yeah. And we could be playing the mirror. In which case, ripping yeah, we are playing the mirror. Okay. So we are looking for Stifle or Intuition. We will have a lot of looks. And we mismanaged our mana. We should have never cast the second planes. And I think I will respect Seal of Cleansing here because it's just a card that they could have. And I think 3 turns is plenty of time to find a Stifle. They did draw the best land. Well, that's quite strong. Oh, I should have probably played the Ancient Tomb because if I ritual twice, then I would have been able to Intuition the wave out. I guess I didn't come all this way to not win with combat damage, question mark. Okay, I definitely oh no, it's okay. I can so I can do this. Oh, I still have a land drop. I actually knew I still had a land drop actually. What was I thinking? Doesn't really matter. So I have to beat the mana leak for 1 turn. Which is just how things work. I haven't played a Replenish mirror match. Obviously this turn would have been really bad for me because if they just had their own Parallax Wave, they would have been able to take an Opalescence and then they just had a powerful wave. So 2 waves basically just stalemate each other. It's a whole thing. 4 mana. Interesting. Factor Fiction. Frantic Search. Intuition. Intuition for triple Flooded Strand. Takes quite a few lands out of their decks. Again, Plowshare is their Opalescence. My Opalescence, which is pretty good. I am at 32. That's the good news. What am I going to hold Miscalc for? I think holding Miscalc is probably good considering their current position of not being able to cast anything and having an attunement in play. Like have no more tides, so they are on the mend. Nice. Well, my next tide is pretty good. And I also have outs to their own random. If they have a Parallax whatever, then I have outs to it. Oh, I could have stifled that. City of Traders. Nice. So I get to miscalculation, replenish. They don't have anything. Parallax side. Miscalculation. So if I stifled the fetch, would it have been good? Their other land of City of Traders. Another miscalculation. We'll take it. We'll take it. Question is if I should be playing this Ancient Tomb. I wasn't really sure, and then I've decided that I will. But yeah, I'm kind of off this deck. I mean, I had like the good draws for like 3 matches, and then, you know, the wheels fell off. I guess I can't miscalculation everything. Guess I should have stifled the fetch land. The thing is that Stifle is so good if I draw my own tide, but instead I'm drawing nothing. Triple tide. All right, you got me this time. Frantic Search. We're just going to lose to combat damage. I will say that if I had attunement, not that I would have had attunement instead of any of these cards in my deck, like the only one is like maybe 1 copy of Frantic Search would have been it. Parallax Wave. Sure. Just need our own P-Wave. Miscalculation right on time. Ugh. Okay, what do we do? I think we cycle this bad boy. What are we even trying to draw? Our own Parallax Wave? I guess if we draw a Parallax Tide, we want to cast it. And then, but Replenish does nothing. I mean, we have to hold up Miscalculation, because if they cast Tide or Replenish, we have to counter it. So we will cycle it on like the last end step we have to cycle. I'm just going to attack for 7. That makes sense. Oh, plenty of mana now. Oh, I have 2 Miscalculations in my graveyard. Yeah, that doesn't work. There's also another wave in their graveyard. All right. You got me. I kind of messed that up. So I was thinking about drawing into Plowshares, plowing the Parallax Wave, and then kicking the, and then whatever. But one spot where this randomly being Mana Leak would have made a difference, huh? Oh, well, nevertheless. I wonder what their sideboard is like. I didn't see any whatever from them. I mean, I think I just didn't get the balance right. I couldn't do enough of like the different kinds of things that I would like to be able to do. This list. Abeyance is notably doesn't work against enchantment, so it only stops them from casting Replenish, which isn't that good. I can do it in response to like a Frantic Search that's trying to make mana, but otherwise it's not like great. Kind of have to play Miscalculation. I kind of want to play Stifle. Frantic Search is still pretty good, even though it just like completely sucked on that last game. Actually, Frantic Search is, I'm realizing now, is like the most polarized card in this deck. Because basically it has to hit. So if it doesn't hit, you're just like in super terrible shape. But when it does hit, it's just a freaking monster. So do with that information what you will. So Misdirection to be a free counter spell against their counter spells. Seems okay. I mean, we are like the Tide combo deck this game, so our plan is going to be to Tide combo. Even though last game we Tide comboed them and then they just recovered. They recovered to the point that they ran 2 Tides into a Miscalculation and then ran a Replenish through Miscalculation. Well, we're here to learn. Really hard not to keep a hand like this, even though it's quite iffy. I'm drawing towards 3 Stifles and 4 Intuitions to make this hand work, obviously. I haven't played or tested this matchup enough. There's like a few dynamics that I'm just sort of not fully aware of. There's a Darkar Waste, which I will quite happily play because it'll allow me to do some good stuff. There's a Seal Cleansing, which is fine. It means that I'm going to play this Tide and let it sit because actually have to use it to protect my own lands. So they can work an entire turn cycle. They can hit this on their turn, obviously. Okay, they're doing it in a way that lets me untap my lands, which I like. Another Seal Cleansing. There's an Opalescence. That is not that interesting. So once again, I have to play a Tide because if they Tide, I have to have protection. And I shouldn't have played the island, I guess. Yeah, I shouldn't have because I'm still in a world where like they can Tide me and then that's bad. And I want to be able to recover. I want to be able to do what they did to me. Discard Parallax Wave and 1. Oh, they're just going to rip it? Well, I mean, if they have it, they have it. They had 2 Seal Cleansings for my P-Tide, which was going to stop this kind of thing from happening. And then I just drew 3 more lands 2 more lands. Okay, now they just have air. Are they going to finish this off by casting an attunement? Or an opalescence? Yeah, attunement, land attunement. Okay. They're super gassed out, plus they're on the mulligan. Guess we have hard cast misdirection for the Orm's Chant. Oh my god. Okay, I'll take an attunement. I'll take an attunement. Rich, if you're watching, I'll take an attunement. 1 attunement, please. I see no direct merit to playing this opalescence. They do have Abeyance in their deck after all that. They're going to replenish 2 Parallax Waves, 2 attunements, and some seal cleansings. That's okay with me. If you have a lot of seal cleansings, I think that's okay. This is also why I didn't cast my opalescence. Okay. I trimmed 2 lands from this deck. Okay, we have to start making a move. I don't know what that is, though. Like, I don't know. If they play Tide, it still doesn't, like, necessarily do anything to me. But I'm at the point where I have 4 lands. I'm just offering more lands to Tide. What if I draw my Parallax Wave? What if I draw Stifle? What if I draw Intuition? All right, well. I fucked up. I took too many of the cards out of Replenish. I made it worse. I don't think I could have attuned my way out of like the blue-white control matchup or the black-red rack matchup, but I also think that I don't know, right? But yeah, they can just spin attunement until they find opalescence here. And then they get 6 looks at opalescence. And then I'm just going to die to combat damage. I guess I should have just started playing out lands because like the only way that I get out of this game is if I somehow like just go completely ham. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, Tide combo is fine. I'm not going to... They're just going to chill on it, though. Interesting. Their plan is to draw opalescence next turn. Is this a right on time? It's not really a right on time. I mean, it's kind of a right on time, right? Because I could have just kept them off of the what they needed. Yeah, that's kind of a tilt. Wish we had Mox Diamond. I mean, not that it would be good. It would have just gotten Seal Cleansing. All right. What land, if they play Tide next turn, do I care the least about losing? It's the Ancient Tomb because I also have the City of Traders. Eventually, they will find what they need. Well, this is actually just funny. Did they board out all their attunements? Or all their whatever? Okay, this is the situation that they warned me about. That they told me was going to happen if I if I cut attunement from the deck, I wouldn't be able to do this, right? Like I wouldn't be able to do what my opponent is doing to me right now. I wonder if I had like random Worms Chant, if it would have made a difference. If I had Brain Freeze, I could have won this game. Oh my god, they're still going. Well, they definitely cut Intuition from their deck, huh? See how they sideboarded. Oh, it's a Fairy's Response? Does that work? It doesn't really work. It works if I'm doing it with anything. It works if I'm doing it with other setups. All right, back to 2 cards in hand. There it is. There it is. 19 cards left in deck. All right. Oh my god. All right. Time to reflect on our mistakes, which is an important part of the process. All right. Lanny Replenish. Down in a blazing salvo. I had 3 matches gift wrapped and dropped right on my doorstep. I had 1 match that was kind of tough, and then 2 matches where my deck sort of failed to function. If, like, you can't necessarily say the deck failed to function if the kind of draws that I got were not, like, you know, not necessarily bad. Like, I think people feel a lot of entitlement to drawing the cards that they need, but in a deck where the only card selection comes in the form of something like intuition, frantic search, etc., you can't really complain. Early on, when I was playing Premodern, I generally thought of a card like Sylvan Library to be just like the absolute worst deal in Premodern. 2 mana, look at 3 cards, pay 4 life to cantrip, basically. Pay another 4 life to like, if you're paying 8 life in a game, like how far ahead are you, that kind of stuff. I was pretty like, okay, this card, doesn't do it. So I feel similarly about attunement. I'm just like, you're casting this card, and if you cast attunement and you spin it a lot, like that's really bad. Like if you had a deck where like the alternate casting cost of every other card in your deck was you and 2 turn this into a Cephalid Coliseum, whatever, like turn this into draw 3, discard 3. Like I don't think that would be good. Now, obviously, if it's free, it's free. It comes at the cost of a slot in your deck. So I figured that cards like Probe or Catalog would be interesting to look at if you wanted that sort of like dig power of attunement, which I think is pretty reasonable. Looking at 3 cards is quite good. Looking at 3 cards and then looking at 6 cards is like also good, but like I wouldn't have wanted to do it against black red. I wouldn't have wanted to do it against blue white. And the Replenish Mirror, like it's not even like that compelling over the card that I'm replacing it with. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, I come in with a pretty strong bias in attunement, so it's hard for me to leave without one. Because you could be in those situations in those games where it's just like, okay, like let's just say I had attunement and I was like got 9 cards deeper into my deck. My opponent got 40 cards deep into their deck and they missed on Replenish. Like granted, at some in between times they were able to like Tide Mirror or whatever. But if I was just like playing a deck that had a couple of counter spells, like, or if I had drawn like my miscalculation or whatever for the mana denial, like at least things would have been interesting. And so it's like I flooded. If I had attunement, I wouldn't flood. Would I have won if I had drawn attunement that game instead of a non-land card, that random non-land card that I have? Like, not evident. Like I was just like gassed out forever, and then eventually I got my lands taken away. You get your lands taken away, attunement doesn't do anything, and like that's just another spot where I don't like it. So I don't like that it doesn't grind. I don't like that it is card disadvantage. I guess the 1 and 2 are the same thing. I don't like that it costs 3 mana as comes to sorcery speed. And I think that there are things that you can put in the deck or whatever. However, I always concede that there is a quality to certain cards where you can basically write a book about what you don't like about them, but they kind of just glue decks together. I've been talking about this about days for a while. Like people like to trim and cut days from decks, and I can't really explain it. Days is not a powerful card, but it is just a card that glues Dreadnought and Grotog together, and cutting days just kind of doesn't work. You can't you can cut days from Grotog. I've done it, and I've done well in tournaments. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm sure people have cut days and done well in tournaments with Dreadnought. But it does do something funny where it's just kind of like, well, it's a spell that's free, and you can pick up an island, make somebody pay 1, and that's good. And like, that's sometimes good. So same thing with attunement. You're like, okay, well, let's just say it is a seal of turn 1 of your cards into draw 3, discard 3. And you read that card and you're just like, that doesn't seem like that good of a card. And you play the card and you hate casting it every time you cast it. That's one difference between me and attunement enjoyers. You're like, okay, I don't like anything that I see here, whatever. And then maybe it ends up biting you in the face. Again, I think that charitably on my side, I won a lot of games without attunement, and then I lost a lot of games that it wasn't clear that attunement would have been helpful. But I also don't see too much POV tape of like other Replenish players to like unpack what they're doing differently with the card, because another thing that I discovered was that there are Replenish pilots that never board out attunement, which against blue, white, black, red, and arguably I would trim some number of copies in the mirror. Like I think that those were things that, I would want to do. So that's, however long I was just talking on attunement. It's worth talking about Stifle. I think that the Stifles were not it, actually. I thought it was really interesting that I could just be like a Tide Control deck that like had pretty decent access to Tide Control, but it is wild how even putting together 4 of one plus 7 of another is like you just need like Frantic Search is less powerful than Portent, for a lot of purposes, except for like the purpose of this deck, which is like sometimes looting enchantments. And you're kind of asking Frantic Search to do a lot of work if it's your card selection and your enabler, and like you're gonna like plan on having some dead cards or awkward draws and like fix it through. So then you're like whatever. So like obviously attunement is used to kind of like do infinite amounts of fixing, like always fixing your draws every single turn at the expense of never getting ahead on cards. Another observation that's often made is like this deck just like wants to have like WWUU in play, and then it just like doesn't have to do anything else. And then because of that, it needs to play a bunch of lands, and then needs to play like a bunch of looting, so that like your lands, like you just stop playing, like, you just stop playing lands at 4. I think that's really unintuitive if you are a other kind of blue-white player where land drops feel like their value, and that like getting to the point where you can like do little sequences where you spend like, you play 1 or 2 spells and then you play your big spell or whatever, or you play something on your opponent's end step and then get them tapped down and then you play 2 things. So that's kind of like a different thing. You can always trim up plowshares. I was thinking of being like deeper invested and just like playing careful study, but I do think it was a misstep for me to not replace attunement with a card that looks at 3 or more cards. My last deck that used impulse instead of attunement, I think was like slightly more potent and slightly more reliable. And I think if I were to go at it again, I would have to tweak things around that. But yeah, it was interesting. I played some testing matches too that generally went pretty well, and then led me to like, I actually started with a build that had 4 AK, and it had only 1 of each, or it had only 3 of each Parallax Opalescence thing. And I drew the conclusion that there were a lot of games where you just like want to, even if you draw like a bunch of Parallax Opalescence stuff, like casting them turn after turn is good enough against a lot of decks. But yeah, it's hard to describe. I feel like when I play this deck, and maybe this is like just this is like a leak for me, it works for other people, it doesn't work for me. When I play the deck, I feel like you get funneled into lines that like are inflexible. You're just kind of like, okay, I'm going to take this line, and this works if there's an opalescence in my next, in my next 8, or this works if there's like a stifle in my next 8, or an intuition in my next 8. And if there's not something in my next 8, then I just discarded a card. So in a circuitous way, you can basically say that attunement is like taking insurance against those types of range plays where you're like, okay, this play really works, but I need to be able to spin my attunement into like the next card, right? So like I have a Parallax Wave down, it's ticking down, I have to find that opalescence. So like I'm just going to spend all my mana to find opalescence. And I end up casting an opalescence that costs 9 mana through 3 attunement activations and 3 extra cards through 3 attunement activations. So 13 mana and 3 cards plus the opalescence. But it doesn't matter because now that I have the opalescence, I win the game. So, it's worth it to spend 3 cards and 10 mana or 12 mana or whatever to 13 mana to win the game. So, yeah, I mean, I think that it is like, on one hand, you can just be like, oh yeah, whatever, you lost some matches, everyone loses some matches. And on the other hand, you can like kind of look at those matches and be like, okay, well, based on the order that my deck was in, I was like never going to win them. So I kind of felt like helpless during those entire matches. And I wasn't playing against decks that were like denying me that agency. I wasn't playing against decks that had like, combos or land destruction or some kind of super linear thing. I was playing against interactive decks that were able to hang out with me for a little bit and, eventually put some power in play and close the game. I also took 1,000 Ancient Tomb damage that league. And like that's like another sort of curse of this deck. Maybe it's just control replenish and you only play 2 Ancient Tombs and 0 City of Traders, and you play like a lot of cantrips and you play 3 of this and you play more control elements. Miscalculation was fine. It countered a lot of spells and it only didn't counter 1 spell. So, whatever. I also almost never cycled it. So also whatever. I think I learned a lot. Misdirection never did anything. Even though I have like a solid amount of blue spells, I still don't have enough. So no misdirection would be good. I didn't play against a red deck. Abeyance is always good. Abeyance kind of falls in line with like the way I think about it. I still think that it's just better than Orm's Chant. Exalted Angel never won a game. So take that with that what you will. If you want to free up these sideboard slots and change your kind of plan to be like more like all in on just trying to do parallax things. But yeah, I think that 3 mana is too much to make this deck more consistent, but who knows? I think I'll try Probe. I'll try Probe in a Dromar's Cavern. You are welcome to come after me in the comments and gloat because you earned it and you are entitled to that. Thanks for watching. I have a promo code on Mana Traders. Link is in the description. The promo code is LANININI. If you use it, there's like kickbacks involved. It's really nice. So come join me on Magic Online. Get a Mana Traders account. It allows you to rent all the cards that you need for all the decks. And long outro, but I have a lot of thoughts. On Replenish. It's actually kind of interesting, but this league definitely reminded me why I wanted to set it down. And I have tried, like I've played 4 attunement in my Replenish list, and I just like didn't like it, so that's why I'm here. And I don't necessarily think that, again, like I don't know if I made the list strictly worse. But I certainly didn't make it better. I didn't solve the problem of consistency was like the original reason why I'm not playing this deck all the time to begin with, because it just like hasn't been the same kind of consistency that I like from, let's say, Dreadnought. But yeah, and then we also didn't get to play against Dreadnought, so we didn't get to see some of that stuff in action. But other than that, thanks for watching. Promo code LANININI on Mana Traders, and have a lovely day.